Fellow Nigerians, where is Shettima? My question today is, where is the Vice President? Tinubu is not yet back from his vacation. Where is Shettima? Shettima of all people. Now, it seems we don't have a vice presidential role in Nigeria today. The vice president is actually useless. Nobody ever believed that Tinubu can be able to carpet a northerner, a southerner can be able to carpet a northerner. There are many suggestions saying that Tinubu is the one acting in the capacity of the vice president. Now that the president is nowhere to be found, okay, we don't know where he is actually. The program, the Vatican program in Rome, the Pope have finished the program. Where is Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the president? And where is Shettima, the vice president? What is happening under Tinubu's government? You see, Northerners are learning a very good lesson. Northerners, they are learning a very good lesson. We saw how Northern Nigeria were saying Muslim ticket. Yes, Muslim ticket. Left and right, Muslim ticket. The worst Muslim is better than the best Christian. And now, the North, they are regretting and regretting. Tinubu's camp have mastered a way of dislodging any coalition, any gathering of any political movement that will want to stop it from having its way from now till 2031. The Tinubu's group have mastered the art of causing division, of dislodging opposition, opposing or dissenting voices. If you look at it critically, anybody that wants to stand up against the government and that is effective, you see the DSS always goes after the person. Just take a seat and look at critically those that have been hit or arrested or attacked by the DSS. You see that the government of Bola Ahmed Tinubu has devised a means of silencing any opposition voice. Now, the worst of them all is Shettima. When last have you heard of Shettima commissioning a project, doing one thing or the other? At least under Buhari, they put Osibajo in charge of the economic team. But Shettima, we don't know what he's doing. He's busy commissioning people going to Hajj as a vice president. At the Chatham House, you see, I will handle the economy, Shettima will handle security. That is a typical politician for you. And the Northerners were clapping. Remember, during the last elections, when Tinubu was leaping and was behaving as if he was not feeling well, and the North were saying, okay, let's support this guy. Let's have this guy represent us. Yes, we can trust him. Because the North felt like they had the power to install anybody and remove anybody. They believed that they did that with a Jonathan and they installed Buhari. They never knew that the Southerners are the engine room of this democracy, of this Nigeria we are talking about. Although we are fighting ourselves, Igbo, Yoruba, and other people. But the Southerners are the real engine room of this Nigeria we are talking about. Tinubu was playing them, playing everybody left, right, center. Okay, they don't know who Tinubu is, Abi. I said, people don't know who President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is. I don't think he's a Yoruba man. For those people that are liking, you liking the president to be representing Yoruba interests, I pity for you. I don't think this man is a Yoruba man. That's why I've said it countless number of times. The Yoruba people, the Southwesterners should look for somebody that will carry the grace Tinubu has in case anything happens. Because after Tinubu's demise, because that guy is building his own empire, that everything is ascribed to him. That aside, we know that Shettima called Osibajo an ice cream seller. Who is now Shettima? Who is Shettima? The point I'm trying to make is that under Tinubu's administration, we find out that the Northerners have failed. Those that are appointed, those that have been appointed have failed. Although the buck stops at the table of the president. Of course, very, very important. The president has failed. That is clear in capital ABC. Nobody, you can only whine or deceive gullible people that are Nigerians, not people like us. Look at the people appointed in the areas of security in Nigeria today. Northerners are those in charge of security. We have, I think it's Badru, we have Matawale, and we have the NSA. We have the NSA. Northerners, Chief of Defense Staff, we have them. Northerners. They are the ones that populate our security architecture in Nigeria. But yet, we find that every AK market day, people are being killed. It is high time that these guys are relieved of their position. Yes, Northern Nigeria have, in fact, which of the ministers under Tinubu have even performed safe? If you're watching this broadcast, just tell us, please, which of these ministers have performed in any capacity? It is not about propaganda. Like I said, it is the people that are in APC that know how to criticize the APC. People that are familiar with a certain kinds of people, they know how to criticize. Some of these people that are defending the APC, they don't even know how to defend the APC. The ones that are defending APC, the likes of Onanuga and those that are online, they know how to criticize APC because they know what APC is doing wrong and right. So, what sector of the economy, like say there's an election tomorrow, what will APC campaign with? The only thing they can do is propaganda. And you know what propaganda does? It's just like a magician doing magic. You want to get to the root of that magic he's doing. He doesn't want to allow you get to the root of that magic. So, ministers, northern ministers under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, they have never performed. I said this in one of my broadcasts. I said, if it is in Igbo land, you have Boko Haram. Nobody will appoint an Igbo person to the Ministry of Defense. Nobody. But we have Northerners, because I'm very, very concerned about that thing that happens in Mate, local government. I'm very concerned. Almost 1 trillion naira of our ammunition. And these guys are displaying the trucks, the ammunition they got from the Nigerian army. These Boko Haram people. It is high time these guys are sacked and you put people that are serious. Rather than playing politics. Everything is not about politics. Well, I know that politicians would want to play politics with the life of Nigerians and their supporters. Politicians are heartless. I pity the person where they support politicians because of he believes a politician go do it in go favor them under this current system. So I'm very bitter. I'm very concerned. How will Nigeria, this is a very big minus for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, how will the Nigerian security apparatus lose such ammunition and people are not being fired? And people are not, heads are not rolling on these organizations. If you leave them, it will still continue. That means the government may be complicit in all these things that we are doing. In all this insecurity and terrorism. Under Jonathan, Tinubu says the buck stops at the table of the president. Now, who does this buck now stop at his table, if not President Bola Ahmed Tinubu? As a southern president, you allow all these things going on. When he comes home, well, the ones that have been attacking farmers in Ondo and all those killings, we have not heard the president speak against it. The other time, the president came and told Plateau State governor that you must what? Who is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces? Who is in control of the security architecture in Nigeria? Is it not the president? You need to sack these northerners. Because if it were to be southeast, that we have Boko Haram, nobody will appoint a southeasterner as Minister of State for Defense, Minister of Defense, Chief of Defense Staff, Chief of Army Staff. Nobody in the right senses. These APC Ronu people will now start writing all sorts of articles on Igbos are the ones, this and that. Igbos this, Igbos that. Why will you, if you just appoint an Igbo Chief of Army Staff, hey, why will you appoint Igbo? Now them. Look at northern Nigeria. Now them. But still, a certain president is appointing these guys Minister of State for Defense, Minister of Defense. To what end? How is that even possible? How do you think that these guys will resolve the issues? If not, that the system is rigged against anything development. That is where we are going to. That is the point. That's the whole... Okay. There are videos, pictures published by ISWAP And they are using these videos to taunt and abuse the federal government. They posted videos of how they go to military formations and destroy. They publish a video. I can't post it on YouTube because it's against their policies. They were posting videos how they were firing our army, and our army, they were running away. That's one of the biggest disgrace. And we have a president who is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. And what the president will do is to use DSS to go after people that are speaking up against this evil. And somebody tomorrow will come and tell me that this president is interested in securing the lives of people. Man, now politics did their head, my brother. Politics, see, and the only time you can see there's some things I don't want to say on this app. And we don't have to say it now. There's a time for it. There's a time for it. We structure this country, that's the only thing that can happen. See, we'll continue to say this thing and say this thing. Let me read this. I want to read this from the attack that happened in that Marte local government. Remember, the Borno State governor is in distress. Borno State governor is asking for help. They have almost ransacked. The other time, Borno State governor say this state is free from this. I was looking at a state is free from Boko Haram. I was looking at it, I'm laughing. They know that Nigerians are stupid, so they can bring anything, and they believe Nigerians will just take it hook, line, and sinker. Last 3 or 4 years, he was saying that Borno is free from Boko Haram, and now he's shouting left, right, center that they have taken almost all the local government in Borno State, and nothing is happening. Peter B in a tweet says the security situation in Borno State is concerning and very, very unsettling. What is happening in the material of the state is not just a local emergency, it is a national alarm bell that must not be ignored. Governor Babagana Zulum is, by choosing to spend the night in the town, under threat. The governor is being ransacked. The threat is so much in Borno State that the governor may be taking his residents out, maybe ruling or leading Borno State out of Borno State. He's choosing to spend a night in the town under threat, has once again demonstrated what leadership should look like. Present, proactive, and people-centered. His courage is not for commendation alone, it's a challenge to those in authority to match words with decisive action. Now, a sitting governor is left pleading for federal government support to prevent an entire local government from falling into the hands of terrorists. You are a president of Nigeria. You are in Nigeria, you're a president. And part of your territory are taken over by terrorists. You're a president. And what we want to do is to go to Rome and start taking pictures and doing also jamboree. And that person is serious for good governance. For those that ethnic bigotry has blinded their eyes, may ethnic bigotry still stay in your eyes and don't see the reality until the thing comes to your doorsteps. No, all these people, over 300 communities stand exposed, while more than 20,000 of Nigerians are displaced yet again. These are not just numbers, they are families, children, and communities whose hopes are hanging by a thread. The governor, Babagana Zulum, raised critical concerns that insurgents are regrouping around Lake Chad and the Mandara Hills, that Mate is on the verge of collapse, and that the window for action is closing. These are facts. And it is not enough to acknowledge them. We must respond with urgency and sincerity. That is the governor, a governor of a state, calling for help. The governor is the chief security officer of a state. You are like yourselves. If you go to school, go to university, and they ask you who is the chief security officer of a state, you say it's a governor. Something must be wrong. No wonder the kind of education we have in Nigeria today is just not useful. In Nigeria today, is the governor the chief security officer of the state? That's the question. Ask your neighbor. In Nigeria today, is the governor? Go to exams, they say yes, the governor, they will now mark you. Thinking. We don't use our brain to think out of the box. If the governor is the chief security officer of the state, why is it that he's calling for help from the federal government? What does the federal government have that he doesn't have? Now, the federal government, the chief security of Nigeria, he's in charge of the army and police, not the governor. So what is the governor actually in charge of? What is governor? If the governor is going to form a security apparatus, they are going to be reporting to the police. Somehow they are being controlled by the president. Everything stops at the box of the table of the president. We can't have a southern president who claims he have the capability and capacity, and we have these issues in insecurity. Well, for Shettima should go and make sure that is the job he should do as vice president. He meets with stakeholders in northern Nigeria. Northern Nigeria should forget about 2031, 2027. It is not for them to come and contest. You can't save Nigeria. I don't know how to explain this to people. If the Tinubu administration or any other administration that comes does not start by overhauling our agencies of government institutions and promoting a certain brand of ideology and psychology among Nigerians, Nigeria will never change. That's just the fact. See the psychology of the APC: snatch it, grab it, and run away with it. And this is what our children will be using up and down. That is a Yahoo. That is a Yahoo ideology. Snatch it, grab it, and run away with it. That is stealing. That is thievery. And this is a standard practice for politicians across the APC. Yes. So the North has a lot of things they need to do. All politicians in Northern Nigeria needs to go back to Northern Nigeria and make sure that they fix their region. It's a regional thing now. Southern politicians should think home first. Think home first. There's a tsunami that is coming. Think home first. Most of you just carry yourself and lapse yourself. You are not nationalistic. You're not patriotic to your people. You don't have the interest of your people at heart. At best, you're an Igbo man. An Igbo man, you have not done anything for the Igbo people. The Igbo cause. It is not you are going to do borehole for community. I have done borehole. What is borehole? It is something, but what is borehole? I've told you some of these Yoruba big men. They call producers, Yoruba producers. Because one thing that is very, very important, how do they know that you are Igbo? Your language, your dress, and your history. If you lose your language, you lose your dress, your culture, you lose your history. You are nothing. You have no identity. You are just an ordinary human being. You are not even a third class citizen in Nigeria. Those that their language, their culture, their history is intact in Nigeria, they can never go wrong. I'm telling you. They can never be. Those that are conscious of their language, culture, and history. These Igbo billionaires, they just wear white top, wear red cap. Most of these billionaires are made by the system, the Fulani, and some of them by Tinubu. I saw a report the other time. Igbo stakeholders, Igbo entrepreneurs endorsed Tinubu for second term. Why? You need hope, so that you can continue. You need hope. You are talking to fools, Abi. You leave your home. You leave your home. Instead of bringing a psychology of innovation and development to the Southeast, your expertise, your connections, for free. You might be losing now, but it is for future purposes. There are so many people that they are losing their language, they are losing their history, they are losing their civilization. And when you lose that, you have no stake in Nigeria anymore. Forget how big man you are. You will become a slave. You have no stake in Nigeria anymore. So it is a regional thing. So I've proposed what the North need to do regionally now. The North needs to go and settle their insecurity issues. That is what is going to bring them down, Northern Nigeria. That is what is going to make them lose the next election. It's not about it. Tinubu is in power. using the normal things to rig elections. Oh. The Northerners are divided. They themselves, the politicians, are also corrupt. Oh. And without their corruption, they will use it to corrupt traditional and religious leaders who in themselves, a religious leader will come and say the worst Muslim is better than the best Christian. With that mentality, can you use that brain to bring development to your people? That's the question. Can you use that brain to bring solutions to your people? That's why the North, with all the presidents they don't get, president here, president there, head of state here, head of state there, minister here, education, minister of petroleum, oh, the North is still backward. Because, so Shettima and co, you have a job to do. Igbo politicians, let's go and sophisticate our heritage, culture, and language. That is what we need. Now, let's unite ourselves, because there is a tsunami coming, and that tsunami is going to lead to restructuring Nigeria. The Fulani cannot stop restructuring. If they like, let them form left, right, center. They cannot stop restructuring. And we are saying, whatever coalition that is coming today, next tomorrow, next tomorrow, it should be a Southerner. Because we know the plans of the Fulani. And the Fulani have never hidden their plans with whoever. Whether it is with Atiku, whether it is with what is his name, Erufayo or Buhari, they have never hidden their plans. The reason why you see Tinubu having an alliance with Buhari is because of selfish interests. He's selfish. He wants to get that presidency. He believes that it is right to become a president, whether it is to the benefit of Nigerians or not. He doesn't care. So that's why you see him, and they know themselves. They know themselves. May God help Nigerians. And may God help Nigerians realize that if you don't restructure this country, the big men, they will carry their children and everybody, their family go out of the country, and they will leave you to suffer. If you are Yoruba, you will suffer. You will suffer. Maybe when you realize that these guys don't send you, it may be too late.